Everybody, welcome back to Balance the World with Dave Detman. Today's video, America the Divided, is about hate and racism and understanding the root causes as well as some ideas on how to fix them. I'm also going to introduce a few new slides and visual aids to help explain my points that I'll be using in many of my future videos. I warn you, I'm still pretty bad at this. Making these videos is still harder than I thought it would be. I'm still figuring out the audio and have choppy transitions. And I keep wanting to add more and more things to talk about, which makes these videos too long, too. But I promise I'll work on these things and keep making improvements as I go. And I'm also still a little confused about fair use laws. I've been researching it, but there's a lot of unclear, conflicting information about it. So if I have used something I'm not supposed to, or I did something wrong, let me know and I'll fix it right away. Now, with that being said, let's get started. Okay, America the Divided. 5 new reasons we hate each other. It seems like we haven't been this divided since the Civil War, or at least the 1960s and the civil rights movements. It makes me think, here we go again, and makes me wonder if we're ever going to get along with each other. Now, I wanted to start with Davis and Lincoln because of how the parties were backwards back in 1860. Democrats were more the conservatives and Republicans were more the liberals. And I did it on purpose to make the point that parties change, ideologies change, and the mix of party issues change, but that hate seems to stay the same, which is a good time to apologize for using the word hate so much in this video because I am aware that it is a very ugly word and it is what we are trying to get rid of in the world. But the problem is real, and there's no reason to avoid the word or the concept like it doesn't exist. So instead of running or hiding from the issue, it's time to face it and understand what is causing it. So I'd like to point out the definition of hate, which the dictionary defines it as an intense hostility and aversion, usually deriving from fear, anger, or sense of injury, or an extreme dislike or disgust, either antipathy or loathing. My definition is one, a strong dislike for other people caused by selfishness and stupidity. You'll see I like to use those two words a lot. Or it's just simply a better, more accurate word or phrase than strongly dislike. I mean, I could use the word phrase strongly dislike 100 times if you want, but you might as well just say the word hate. Point is, don't get mad at the word, get mad at the causes of it. And remember, it takes two to tango, or both sides are causing it, which is the main focus of this video. Now, with that out of the way, why do we hate each other so much, and what is it going to take to get us to work together? The first thing is to understand that it is never one reason or answer. All causes and solutions are pie charts and percentages because people need to stop saying one thing is causing our problems or one thing is the solution. Some reasons are more important and bigger than others, which is why I like pie charts so much. So, whenever you're arguing politics, always remember to say that's one of the reasons or one of the answers. Now, I also put the government gavel on this slide to show how much government is the main solution to our problems. Not free markets and not corporations. Only through laws and law enforcement will we ever be able to fix our problems. And yes, government is very broken and corrupt, I agree. But without government, the people don't stand a chance against banks and corporations and big business and rich people, which is why most of our focus needs to be put towards fixing and perfecting government and getting people to work together politically in order to get and keep control of our politicians and lawmakers. So, before we get to America, let's zoom out for a minute and talk about why all humans hate each other in the world so much. Selfishness. The number one problem in the world is selfishness and or at least the fight for a better life. The problem is we only have one planet to share. And with over 8 billion people now, sharing is getting even harder and harder. So, selfishness, along with stupidity, really are the roots of hate and racism, as well as most of our problems in the world. Just think about all the wars and battles and revolutions throughout history, down to fistfights and arguments, and now even financial corruption and takeovers. All caused by the fight over natural resources, because natural resources, they do equal money, and money does equal a better life. So, we all need to start asking ourselves if we are helping the human race work together to take care of this beautiful miracle of the universe we call planet Earth, which really is the only home we have. Or is the human race really no better than 8 billion ants fighting over an apple? because it is way past time to start being better, smarter, and more civilized than 8 billion ants fighting over an apple. There's probably more teamwork with ants than there are with humans, and that is just pathetic. So, if we are ever going to be better than the ants, we need to start working together more. And if we are ever going to start working together on a global scale, we need to start with fixing our problems right here in America. And why? Because America is the leader of the world, right now at least, mainly because we are the richest country, which helps us make improvements needed. We have the strongest military in case things go bad. And we really do have the best form of government when it works properly and has the ability to make improvements towards perfecting government and making it work for everybody. So, why don't we work together here in America? Well, the main reason is that we are the melting pot of the world and everybody hates each other. For over 500 plus years now, all different types of people have been coming from all over the world and have been mixing together with the natives ever since. Back in their home countries, they like each other more because everyone is the same. Same skin color, same language, same religion, same culture. But once they got here, everything instantly changed and they all started hating each other and have been fighting each other ever since. Why would anybody think that is just magically going to change, especially when hate and racism going to get addressed properly by talking about the root causes? So next, let's talk about the top 10 main reasons or causes. Starting with number 10, immigration. It goes I put it at number 10 is because it goes along with being the melting pot and the fact that we are still having immigration problems here in 2025. Number 9, jealousy or envy. Number 8, money, of course, the fight over capitalism and socialism here in America. That's big. Number 7, health and hygiene. Number 6, public behavior. 5 is wealth inequality. 4 is culture, everything down to music and the clothing that we wear. Number 3 is race or nationality. Number 2 is religion. And number 1, I think, is language or even our accents here in America. Mainly because it's impossible to get along with each other if you can't communicate with each other. And when it comes to this list, keep in mind that this is just my opinion. I want everybody to come up with your own list and your own percentages. My job is just to get the conversation started so we start looking at and focusing on the roots of our problems. Okay, the current reasons for the divide. Here are the top 5 current reasons for the hate. Number 5, the LGBTQ community. Number 4, inflation. Number 3, political corruption. Number 2, media and social media. And number 1, Donald Trump. Trump, the great divider. Now, I'll be making an entire separate video about Donald Trump and why he won again. For now, just focus on how he has divided us for the past 10 years. Mainly because of how him and MAGA's fight between immigrants, minorities, and the LGBT community, which has bled right into our political party divide, which also leads to the next section. It's time to balance our two-party system, or to balance our politics. Because, like I said, we need to fix our own problems here in America first before preaching to everyone else, and it must be done through government. Rich people already understand this, which is why they spend so much money on lobbyists and buying our politicians, like Elon Musk just did with Donald Trump, so they can make the laws and rules to benefit them. Now it's time for the American people to understand this concept and take back the control of our politicians and make them work for us and for what is right, not just for the rich and corrupt. Okay, so far we've seen graphs for when there are 10 or 5 reasons or answers. Now let's take a better look at the graph I will mainly be using in my videos when comparing two choices, like our political parties. My favorite part about this slide is the middle war zone or the compromise zone because both sides have fair points. Now, the two white backgrounds I will be using are this one or the white Capitol building. Now, these white backgrounds will be the topics and will also symbolize the laws, independent compromises, mixing of issues, and basically where most of the fighting takes place. Now, I first came up with this concept when I wrote my book, and even though I've been very embarrassed by it for a long time, I'm still right about most of the concepts in it. And as you can see, I use the balance idea right on the cover, showing the importance of seeing both sides and meeting in the middle. Now, one of my favorite graphs from the book was that of the war zone. And yeah, I know my graphs were horrible. At the time, that was the extent of my graphic design abilities. So go ahead and laugh. I do. Maybe someday I'll be able to afford to hire some graphic designers to help me out. But that's also what these slides and videos are for, too. In the meantime, just remember that both sides have good points and to try to do your best to see the other side's point of view, which is why you will see me talk from both sides of this graph once in a while. And remember, meeting in the middle is not always about compromising on an issue or issues, but believing in a mix of issues too. You don't always have to agree with everything your party or your team says. So, being an independent is a combination of both compromising on issues and a mix of issues and agreeing with the other team sometimes. You do not have to be 100% Democrat or 100% Republican. People rarely agree on 100% of anything anyway. So, have a spine and stand up to your friends and family when it comes to your mix of issues. You don't have to agree with everything they do. Being independent is also means you don't have to like the other party's leadership or politicians either. Both are often corrupt, especially how the Republican Party has been hijacked by Donald Trump and how the Democratic Party screwed over Bernie Sanders and stabbed him in the back like Julius Caesar. Twice. We could have had a kind, hardworking, great president who actually cared about people for the past 8 years. But no, they had to shove Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris down our throats. I will never forgive the Democratic Party and leadership for what they blatantly did to Bernie Sanders, not until they are all gone or voted out of office. Now, like I said, both sides have fair points. We are not divided in half in this country because one side is right and one side is wrong. For me, I'm 65% Democrat, mainly because of the big five issues you see in the middle and on here on the left. But I'm also 35% Republican because of the issues on the right. So be tough enough to stand your ground and stick up for what you believe in, and don't blindly agree with whatever your team says. And also, don't be a single issue hater. I think one of the main reasons people don't like me very much and why I'm having so much trouble building support is because I piss off both sides. If you take a closer look at my issues on this slide, something is probably making you mad at me. Please don't let that one issue or two issues keep you from liking or helping me out. And take a minute to think about where you are at on the political spectrum. Now, one of the biggest reasons people blindly pick sides and believe whatever their party says is because they are brainwashed by the media, which is the next war zone that I want to talk about. Balance the media. This will be one of my next videos because of how important of a topic it is to make the news fair, honest, and neutral again. Remember, media equals adult continuing education and mainly how people stay informed. And political misinformation is everywhere, and the public is caught in the middle of their media propaganda war. So stop believing everything you hear on the Magic Idiot box or the internet or social media. Or even stop believing everything your friends and family say just to fit in and be liked. Please start adopting this motto. Think for yourself and doubt everything. And believe it, agree with it, support it if it's true. Start using phrases like if it's true. Who's your source? Or my favorite, says who. Which also means to start watching information from the other side once in a while, just to stay balanced, mainly because of what gets hidden from the public by your team's news and propaganda. Okay, a current war zone or political issue is that of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, headed up by Elon Musk, that's causing so much controversy. Now, to be fair, some of the goods are, government transparency, exposing corruption, saving on tax dollars. But the problem is, government is not just about saving tax dollars. It's about creating jobs, keeping people safe, and protecting our planet. Now, some of the bads of DOGE, I would consider it seems to be an illegal department, breach of private data. It's an abuse of power. You're firing good employees. And are you going to do it to both parties, starting with you and your boss? Seriously, firing all these people, are you helping them find another job, replacing their job with universal basic income at least? The other problem of firing is all these people are government regulators. regulation is necessary. It just depends on what the taxes are spent on. Elon Musk was on Joe Rogan one time talking about how there were too many referees on the field or too many government regulators keeping him honest and following the laws. It's he and other rich people don't want any referees so they can cheat and save money all they want. They're the same as the bully on the playground who doesn't want any teachers or lunch aides on the playground so they can bully all the weaker kids and steal their lunch money. Government is the teacher or the referees to keep life fair. So Elon Musk even realized that in order to get what he wanted and to get the regulators off his back, which is why he got involved with politics and why he bought Donald Trump his second term. So he basically bribed the main referee, Trump, which is supposed to be highly illegal. Think about how mad people get when they think the Kansas City Chiefs bribed the referees and get all the calls in football. People go crazy over corruption in sports, but don't seem to care when it comes to government and politics. So try to remember, government's main job seems to be determining what is fair, keep everyone safe, and who gets the money. Who gets the money? 75% of government is spent deciding who or what gets funded, or how the total pile of money in this country gets divided, and how tax dollars get divided, split up, whether they get taken from rich people and sent to poor people. Which brings up the question that I'm going to be talking about a lot in the rest of the video is, do poor people deserve financial help? Rich people are always asking, why should my tax dollars go towards people I hate? Do poor people deserve help? Just because you're alive doesn't mean you should get help. Now, we'll get back to that question about earning help in a moment. For now, what we're really talking about is the old argument of capitalism versus socialism. Socialism versus capitalism, or government versus corporations, or rich versus poor. Again, who gets the money? Now, Karl Marx is credited as the founder of socialism, and John Smith is said to be the founder of capitalism. Now, when it comes to capitalism versus socialism, stop defending one or the other. Focus on the best combination of the two. So whenever you hear somebody say, we don't want socialism here in the United States. Yeah, no kidding. I agree. Not total socialism, but it's never one or the other. In fact, we already have a combination of the two because both systems have goods and bads. Some goods of socialism are one, the police department, fire department, water sanitation, food and drug administration, workplace safety, our national park system, and high regulation to keep people safe. Some goods about capitalism are it rewards hard work, and greed motivates. And as much as I hate to say it, the desire to be rich does make people work harder. Inspires inventions, provides for creative freedom. Sports and entertainment are derived from capitalism. And some people would say low regulation is a good for capitalism. Now, the problem is socialism wants high regulation with many referees, while capitalism wants no regulation or no referees. So we really just need to establish the best balance between them. How much socialism or how much capitalism? I personally believe in highly regulated capitalism. The key is to control the referees or politicians and make them be honest and fair, not corrupt puppets for rich people. And also, remember, socialism works in other countries because in most other countries, people are the same. Like we talked about earlier, the same race, same language, same religions. In America, people are all different and hate each other. So until people start acting and behaving the same, or at least a little similar, rich people are going to keep asking, why should my tax dollars go towards people I hate or people who don't deserve help? These are legitimate questions because rich people are going to fight like hell to keep as much of their money as possible and not share it with poor people, which is exactly the main reason why Donald Trump is our president again. Okay, I'd like to give you a couple more visual aids to help lead into my next section about how we get people to like each other, or at least get them to work together a little better, and how poor people can earn or deserve help from rich people. So remember, we should be aiming for independent compromises and mixing of issues. The problem is we're actually getting farther apart instead of closer together. Now, this graph helps show it's mainly about how the two parties get spread out and taken over by the extremists and radicals on the far right and far left, when people should be trying to get along and meet in the middle. And please notice the farther you get from the center, the more extreme you get. So, how do we get more people to like each other and enough to meet in the middle? Well, this is actually the focus of the rest of the video and brings up my concept of what I call the perfect citizen, which is simply another visual aid to explain how we are different and how we can start getting people to like each other a little more. Now, of course, there's no such thing as a perfect citizen, but the concept does give people an idea on what they should try to be like on the way to being a good citizen. Okay, I'd like to introduce my teamwork star graph, which will help me explain my perfect citizen concept. And I'll be using race in the United States, which is made up of 59% white people, 19% Hispanic, 13% black, 6% Asian, and 3% native. On the right, you'll see my pie chart, which is basically looks like this, but that doesn't work for the star graph. So I keep it small with the 20% pie chart in order for the star graph to work, which looks like this. Now, on the edges, you can see you got white, black, native, Asian, and Hispanic. On the ends, the fives are the extremists. These are the people who don't even try, have no respect for other people, have lack of tolerance, and are just plain stubborn. What I consider bad citizens. These people are the racists and the hateful people, the closed minded. They're the ones that segregate and stay in private and are basically selfish. You can think of them like the fives as gang members and mafias, all the way down from hate groups to racist to prejudiced people. And finally, the ones are the open minded people in the middle. You can also think of it as fives are the criminals and prisoners, four are the lawless radicals, three are the idiots and social misfits, two are the activists and protesters, and one are the good citizens. With in the middle is what we consider our perfect citizen. Now, obviously, there's no such thing as a perfect citizen, which is why it's a zero and in the middle. But it just gives you an idea of what people should be striving for. All right. Also, in the middle is what you consider the public, where the good citizens are, the melting pot, the open minded people, the centrists, the selfless people. All right. Or also the people who believe in teamwork and compromise and tolerance and understanding and compassion and have empathy for other people and believe in unity, or where the perfect citizens are. Or, like I said, there's no such thing as a perfect citizen, but it's what people should be striving for in order to be a good citizen. Now, fair is fair. Hate and racism go both ways. So, this slide is about downtown versus suburbia and how humans keep running from problems instead of facing them. Now, this time you get to use the same graph, but this time go in opposite directions. So now the ones are the downtowns of cities, or the ghettos, or where the bad citizens and racists and idiots are, the melting pots of the areas. And on the outside, you got people running to the suburbs, running from problems, just want to live in peace and hide from idiots. They're the strong families or have respect for others and tolerance and empathy. Now, I'd like to pause for a moment and apologize for this slide because it is rather harsh, and as well as for using the word idiot so much, because it's not a very nice word to call people. But I am really tired of the world being full of bad people, especially when they're breeding more and more bad people, not doing anything to be a good person, and expecting the government to help them out when they don't do anything to help themselves or be a better person. So get used to it because I use the word idiot a lot. Now, another problem with this concept of avoiding idiots is that we're running out of places to run to. There are no more new worlds or frontiers to run to. We can't keep running from the inner cities to the suburbs. So, if we can't do that, the question really becomes how do we eventually learn to live and work together? The first thing to do is for everyone to try to be a good citizen. Now, what does that mean to be a good citizen? Well, a lot of people say you shouldn't judge or compare yourself to other people. So, what I've done is come up with the idea of the perfect citizen, a fictitious character to compare yourself to. Now, Keep in mind that it's the effort that counts. 100% is a perfect citizen, and there's no such thing as that. So you want to try to at least be, 75% on this list, and 0% would be a bad citizen. So here is my list of what I think characteristics of a perfect citizen are. Number one, they obey the laws and rules of society. They're considered traffic. I use traffic because everybody's on an equal playing field in traffic. They vote in every election, stays informed on current affairs, debate without arguing, have a hard work ethic, honest day's work for an honest day's pay, compromise when needed, responsible parenting. They raise their kids well. They do not annoy, bother, or instigate. They show good sportsmanship in competitions, tell the truth, and always admit when they're wrong, which is hard to do. They have good manners and speak clearly, and they treat others with respect first. Now, this is just a starter list, all right? So come up with your own. Make your own list, add to mine, subtract from mine, help me out. Come up with what is a good list for characteristics of a good citizen. I'm just here to get the list started and to make everybody understand why it's important to be a good citizen. So, why should people be good citizens? To deserve help from other people, to get the human race to like each other or at least work together. Which brings us back to what we were talking about earlier. Do poor people deserve any help? Rich people have the attitude of why should my tax dollars go to people I hate? And they have a fair point. So, how do we get people to work together? Well, a lot of people think the old golden rule, do to others as you would have them do to you. Well, the problem with that is if people have the right to act and behave any way they want, then everyone else has the right to discriminate against them. Or better yet, if you're going to act and behave like an idiot, then I'm going to treat you like an idiot. All right. And I'm sorry, but fair is fair. People have got to deserve help from other people. Now, with that being said, I still believe in the little boy's rule of he started it, which means be kind and polite to people first, then treat them how they deserve to be treated. So be nice first. So the point of this slide is be a good citizen, get people to like you, give people a chance, and don't judge too soon. Because control is the key to properly judging people, or at least categorizing them. Now, a lot of people say to me all the time, Dave, you shouldn't judge people. That's not very nice to do. Who do you think you are? Well, the point of this is fair is fair. If people have the right and the freedom to act and behave any way they want, then everyone else has the right to treat them accordingly. So, treating people how they deserve to be treated is the point of this slide. But also knowing how to judge them is what's important also. For starters, you should never judge people or treat them according to something that they have no control over, which is basically how they were born. Things such as these. Starting from the bottom, your birthplace, where you were born, your age when you were born, your gender, boy or girl, your race and skin color, your genetics, are you attractive, athletic, talented, or smart? Your financial class, your parents' money, and your parents. You have no control over who your parents are. So don't treat people or judge them according to these things. That's not fair. But what is fair is as you move up the list here, some things you do have a little bit of control over. All right. Things like this, your genetic development, what you do with your genetics, your culture, your language, your accent, the music you listen to, just because I say music because everybody can hear it, your religion, your physical appearance, your hygiene, your clothes, your grooming. You do have some control over that. Your career, judge people on how they earn their money. That's fair. All right. And the last things that you do have a lot of control over that are important and that you should judge people over is their behavior, how you act in public, how you treat other people, and how hard you try in life. Are you a loser or a bum? And I'll talk more about that in a minute. But the important part here is to understand these are the things that you judge people and treat them according to. So treat people not by what they have no control over, but how hard they try to be a good citizen. That's fair. So, judging people properly brings us back to our political balance slide comparing the two political parties. And for this one, the nature versus nurture debate. And one of my all time favorite examples of this is not judging poor people too soon and how big was your head start in life. Now, this meme over here to the right is one of my favorites ever on the internet because of how much I personally despise spoiled rich kids. Now, yes, I'm a little jealous, I admit it, but especially the ones who are not grateful or deny that they were even given a head start. Kind of like you know who. Now, the flip side of this is the Aladdin complex, one of my favorite Disney movies, or the concept about good poor people who just haven't been given their chance to shine yet. A great example of how poor people can be good citizens too. Now, I also like to bring up the concept of the loser versus the bum. A loser keeps trying to be a good citizen, a bum gives up. Now, let me repeat that. A loser keeps trying to be a good citizen, a bum gives up, which is important when it comes to judging people and when deserving help from other people. So, again, why should the rich kid here on the right in the meme share his daddy's money with the kid struggling up the stairs? He needs to do his part and be a good citizen and deserve the help. Because right now, at this point in time in history, there are way too many poor people who are idiots or bad citizens and don't deserve any help. So, my point is stop being a bad citizen. Try not to be such an annoying extremist or radical politically. There's all right to stand up for what you believe in and voice your opinions and even protest when needed, but always do your best to be a good citizen and work together. Now, why? Well, because if you want government to help you, either through money or simply through laws that benefit you, start doing your part and be a good citizen. Be more likable and start deserving the help. Now, specifically, immigrants and minorities speak English, improve your public behavior and follow our laws and rules. In gay community, keep men out of women's sports and head back forward to the closet at least a little bit to show you're doing your part. And MAGA crowd, put your frickin' hoods back on and stop being so darn mean to people. So, as you can see, both sides, both extremes irritate me. But hopefully soon, most likely after Trump isn't our president anymore, we can all start getting along and meeting in the middle more. Now, in the meantime, try to be a good citizen and learn to work together. Because America is really divided again. And the number one reason we need to work together is because after the Civil War, we had the whole wild Western frontier to run to. Now we don't, which is why we have to replace the concept of growth with balance. Because there's no westward expansions anymore. There's nowhere to go. There's no new worlds to sail away to. So until we develop space travel and light speed, our planet is all we have. So it's time to stop running from problems and face them. Because until a God gets down here and starts helping, we are on our own to take care of our own planet. So please, let's be better, smarter, and more civilized than 8 billion ants fighting over an apple. Because most likely, no God is going to magically take us to a new planet to kill. So let's work together and take care of this one for now and for future generations. Thank you. Thanks for watching today's video and helping humans establish a balance with our planet. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channels. Follow us on Facebook and X. And lastly, if you'd like to become a supporter or help us out financially, you can sign up for a monthly donation on our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Balance the World with Dave Detman. But if you'd like to find out some more first, keep watching more Balance the World videos and hopefully I can earn your support. Thank you.